I'm Joanna, and I run a shop called SleepyJoArt, where I hope that my art can bring smiles and laughs to people's faces and just hopefully brighten up your day a little bit. I created a 6-part series of making my own kitty phone hippers. These are 2 examples of them. This one is called Gail the Gamer, and this one is called Sammy the Sleepy Cat. And essentially, they represented parts of my own personality. Today, I'm finally making a tutorial on how you can make these for yourself. Not only that, but I will be releasing a limited edition kitty phone hipper design, and that will be the one we'll be making today. So with that, let's get into designing. Okay, whoa, it is like way too bright in here. Here, try these. All right, that's much better. Thank you to the sponsor of the video, Firmoo. I've actually never had a pair of prescription sunglasses myself because they're always really, really expensive to get. And especially as someone with a really, really high prescription, sunglasses has always been kind of a struggle. So I've either never been able to wear sunglasses or I've just been blind wearing my sunglasses. So when they reached out to me about this collab, I was super excited. The packaging that the sunglasses came in is also really nice, and it comes with everything you need to keep your sunglasses in tip-top shape. I also love the design of my glasses. I'll definitely include the style in the description below. I think the cat eye shape is really cute, and the accent of red is super nice as well. I also want to bring up just how sturdy these glasses actually feel, especially for prescription sunglasses at this price point. This is a really great deal. I also really appreciate how easy it is to pair these sunglasses with different outfits. Like here we have something that's a little more preppy, kind of like boating vibes. You can of course also go super casual with kind of like a day in the city fit with the all black. And of course I have to include an outfit with a white skirt because I feel like that's just such a staple in my closet, and I feel like this looks super cute also. Outfits aside, I feel like I can also wear my hair however I like. Here I have it just down like my natural hair, and it also looks great with my hair up just with a simple claw clip. And yeah, I feel like it just really elevates a look, and it's just such an easy accessory to throw on really quick. Even Gudetama I feel like looks awesome in these glasses, so that just shows you how easy it is to pair with everything. And if you use this code, you can actually get 50% off your frames, which is such a steal. So if you guys are interested in also picking yourself up a pair of sunglasses or even just regular glasses, feel free to check out my description and I have some special codes for you guys. Again, thank you to Firmoo for being the sponsor of this video, and let's get back to making kitty phone hippers. So based off the colors that we have, which is white and some shades of green, can you guess what kind of kitty phone hipper we'll be making? We'll be making a matcha style kitty phone hipper today. For the design, I'm thinking of doing a overall white base for the cat, and then for the ears and some other parts of the body, I'm thinking of doing it like a green ombre kind of style, which I'll be using pastel sticks for. And then to give it like a little bit more of a plant, like leaf tea feel, I wanna add a cute little sprout to the top of the kitty's head. I think that'll be like a really, really cute touch. So if you want to craft along with me, feel free to grab your materials and we'll get started. Right now I'm working on the body of the kitty phone hipper, and usually what I like to do is start out with circles. Honestly, a lot of my polymer clay charms start out with just circles. So this is kind of what I do. I place the clay in between my 2 fingers like this, and then another 2 fingers like this, and then I kind of like just squish at the same time, and then just gently flatten it out into this rectangle shape and just kind of like rotate it around. I want to try and keep the sides as even as possible. Polymer clay is pretty malleable, so you can just use your fingers and shape the sides however you want. But in this case, I usually try to go for kind of this like roundish rectangle shape. Once the clay is about this size, here's kind of a finger for reference. And again, you can adjust this length however you want. This will be what is sitting on the back of your phone. So if you would like more support, you can actually make this rectangle longer. This is usually about the size that I go for. From here on, I will usually grab a box that has kind of these 90-degree edges. I'm gonna use this edge as a way to shape the kitty phone hipper section that hangs over the top part of your phone. So I'm just gonna go ahead and place it right on the top here. I'm gonna stick it to the box. Once I stick it on, just like that, I will fold over this top edge to create that like 90-degree ledge. Feel free to adjust the sides and if there's any unevenness. So yeah, this is kind of what it should be looking like, and you can use anything that works, a box, or if you have another type of ledge that you can use, but this just works the best for me. Got some color on this side, so what you can do with that is take your Q-tip, some rubbing alcohol, and you can actually just wipe that right off. This also goes for any other piece of dust or lint that gets stuck. Especially when you're working with white clay, you'll find that frequently there's little dust pieces that appear out of nowhere. So in those cases, you would use the rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip, and you can remove those pretty easily. Before I bake my polymer clay charms, I always go and swipe the clay pieces with a Q-tip and rubbing alcohol just to make sure that it's as clean as I can get it. All right, so here is the head of the cat that we made a little earlier. I'm going to make its ears now. So because the ears are so small, sometimes my scale actually doesn't register the amount of clay. So if you have a better quality scale than mine, then it probably works, but usually I'll kind of just eyeball it at this point. I kind of roll out a little log, kind of like this, and then I'll cut off about this much clay. It's pretty small, but they are ears, so. Similar method to before, I'm going to roll first into a little circle and then go ahead and shape with my hands. Here I'm trying to create a triangle shape for the cat ears. So I'll kind of use my fingers and then just like gently shape and squish in different angles for me to get the shape that I want. After a little bit, you should have a little triangle just like this. So with that, I will go ahead and just stick it right on the cat. If your clay is really, really dry, one thing that you can do is use an X-Acto knife or any other tool and kind of score the top of the head, make some little marks, and then put your ear on, and that might help make it stick a little better. The clay I'm using is relatively sticky, and I've also conditioned the clay so it just goes and sticks on pretty easily. And yeah, that's one ear done, so I'm gonna go ahead and make the other one. Okay, now that we've created the head of the cat with the ears and also the body of the phone hipper, we can move on to the extra features like the eyes, the nose, and also adding the little sprout on its head. Usually for my cats, I like to put in indents before I put the actual clay in. That way it just stays a little better. You can of course sculpt each piece in whatever order you want, but I like to go with the lighter clay pieces first and then gradually move on to darker and darker pieces. This is because if I were to start crafting, say like the sprout of the cat, which is green, and then sculpt with white clay, some of that green pigment might stick onto my hands and then it'll transfer over when you're creating like the head of the cat, the ears, and the body. So typically for any clay pieces, I like to work from light to dark. I'm thinking for the eyes, I will use this kind of dark green color. And then for the little sprout on his head, I might use this matcha-y lighter green color. All right, now we have the final little kitty head with the sprout on the top. I love how this came out. I feel like it looks super cute. And we also have the body of the kitty phone hipper on the box here. So the next part, usually what I like to do is I'll assemble the phone hipper. So I'll put the head on top of the body, and then we will move on with coloring. For this next part, you want to score the clay on the top part where the head is going to attach to the body. So at this top part, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just gently make a couple of marks. This is just to give it more of a surface to grab on, and it'll just stick a little better. If you're having trouble with your clay sticking, you can also use liquid polymer clay, and that might help it also. So yeah, I'm just going to stick them on just like that. I'm not pressing too hard, but I am pressing with a bit more force because I definitely want the head of the cat to stay on. And yeah, there we go. So now the head of the cat is attached. And now we can begin using this pastel to give it that nice like ombre effect. Usually what I like to do is take an X-Acto knife and then gently scrape off of the pastel. So when you do that, some of the powder will start coming off. And yeah, it honestly kind of looks like matcha powder. Like if you were to just show me this, I would not be able to tell the difference. Next, you want to take a fluffy brush. Any cheap paintbrush will do, honestly. I know some people also use eyeshadow palettes. That works too. So all I'm going to do is get some of that green powder that I scraped off from that pastel, and then carefully start kind of powdering the ears of the cat. You can also choose wherever you want this green ombre color to be. Usually for my cats, I really like to do their ears, and I think it just makes them look really cute. And definitely take your time with it to create that kind of ombre effect. Usually you need to do multiple layers. So the first layer that goes on, it's gonna be a little lighter, and then just the more pastel powder you add to it, it'll become more and more colorful. I'm also shading in this bottom section of the kitty phone hipper, like right underneath the head, because I'm going to give it some little arms right after this, and I want the arms to kind of have that ombre green color as well. That's good for the front of it. And now I'm also going to color the back. The back, I want its little tail to be more green. And then I also want the back to kind of do a gradient as well. So it'll be darker green on the bottom and then gradually get lighter towards the top. Cool. I think that's pretty good. For the last step, all I'm going to do is create its little arms. So for example, I have this kitty phone hipper here. It has like these little divots in the front for its arms, so it kind of looks like the arms are going to be resting on your phone. So to do that, I have this tool here, and all I'll be doing is gently pushing in this bottom part. I technically should have done this before I put the head on, so I might just carefully rip that off. I'm so sorry. All right, so all you're gonna do is just take a stick or another tool similar to this, and you can just gently push in the middle right here to create that divot. And that's pretty much it. You can kind of adjust the shape how you like and round it out a little bit, but yeah, it'll just look like little arms. I'm going to rescore the top part here just to make sure the head like really stays on, since I'm kind of reattaching. Luckily the clay I'm using is pretty forgiving and sticky, so not too many difficulties there with having it stick again. Just rounding out the edges a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is the finished kitty phone hipper before baking, of course. This is the back of it. I love the little sprout. I think it's so cute. So now we're going to bake the finished kitty phone hipper. Because it kind of has a ledge, there's probably multiple ways you can go about this, but I created kind of like an aluminum foil contraption. So pretty much what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to carefully remove the phone hipper from the box, and I'm just going to place it on my little aluminum foil contraption. You can definitely make one for yourself too. I just literally made an L shape and then had this top part like a little thicker, and that's pretty much it. Also, at this point, if I notice any other like little tiny specks of dust or unwanted color, I kind of just go in with a Q-tip and just gently like dab away some stuff. Once you're happy with the shape and the color of everything, you can go ahead and bake your kitty phone hipper. For my oven settings, I like to bake the phone hippers at around 240 to 245 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. If you're baking for the first time, I recommend checking the instructions that come with your polymer clay. I find that 240 works well for me, so. But yeah, let's go put this kitty phone hipper in the oven now. Our kitty phone hipper is done baking in the oven, and this is what it looks like. It looks pretty much the same as when I first put it in the oven, but we're going to now glaze the phone hipper so it gets all nice and glossy like my other ones. This is a different kitty phone hipper, but it'll look glossy like this once we add the UV resin to it. A couple of things about UV resin before we begin. UV resin is extremely toxic. It is very, very bad for you. It has fumes that can harm your body, and also you definitely don't want to get it on your skin either. So because of that, you need to use protective equipment. The first main thing that you need is a 3M respirator mask. I just got this off of Amazon, and you also need gloves. To cure the UV resin, I have a nail lamp here, and it is just like a UV LED nail lamp. You can get these on Amazon as well. I specifically use Mr. Resin because I think that it just coats on super nicely, and I've never really had any issues with it yellowing as well. Sometimes with cheaper UV resin, it will get discolored over time, but this brand is pretty good. It's definitely on the pricier side, but UV resin also will help with the durability of the clay piece itself, so I wanted to make sure that I get something that's really good quality. So yeah, I'm going to get my protective gear on now, and we'll get to glazing. Also, apologies, my face looks a little goofy right now because it's just the lines from the face mask. Again, I really want to emphasize that the safety equipment is super important if you are glazing with UV resin. So this is the finished matcha kitty. I think it's super cute, especially like I love how it looks with the glaze. This is the back of it. Little face. So now the last thing to do is just to stick the nano tape on it. So all you need to do is grab your piece of tape and make sure you put the sticky side first on the inside of the phone hipper here. And place that down, make sure you press it in well. And now the kitty phone hipper is ready to use. With this tape, all you need to do is just peel off the red layer here, and then it'll be sticky underneath and also clear. The tape isn't red. And then you can pretty much just stick it onto whatever you want. I like to stick these phone charms on like my monitor or maybe the side of my desk. I personally don't like putting on my phone because it's something that I'm holding all the time and I just get distracted very easily. This is technically the bottom of my phone, but it still works. So you would take the red tape off and then just stick it right on there. And it's just like a cute little friend peeking out from the top. So after completing all of those steps, you'll have your completed kitty phone hipper. I hope this tutorial was helpful. And again, you can customize these kitty phone hippers as you like. If you want to check out some of the other designs I've made previously, I do have a 6-episode series on different types of kitty phone hippers. But yeah, I hope this tutorial was super helpful, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.